And hi, everybody. Yes, it's Andy Greenberg again.
It's Carol.
And we are going to be going on a subject today that I know we've been waiting for a long time. And we're going to be able to use this subject. As usual, let me start off with a disclaimer. Carol and I have not rehearsed. She has no idea what we're talking about. So she's going to be representing you with her questions and comments and reactions. And you know that just like you, she does not hold back. If she doesn't agree with something, she lets me know. If she's got an addition, she lets me know. And so she will represent you, which I think we always encourage. So what are we going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about the art of schmoozing. Now, why would we be talking about the art of schmoozing?
I don't know.
Oh, come up with some guess.
Oh, because we've been isolated and we're going to eventually get back to communicating with one another?
Yes, exactly right. I don't know when it is. I'm not going to make any promises. I'm certainly not in control. But many of us are getting our shots. They say things are going to open up around the summertime. Hopefully it'll be earlier. We don't know. But we do know this, that many of us have been isolated. Many of us are yearning for what, Carol? What do you think?
Conversation, company, adventure.
Conversation, company, adventure. And I dare say that many of us might have forgotten our social skills. We might have forgotten what schmoozing is all about. And you know what? I bet you that we've got a year's worth of stories to tell to other people. And that's what schmoozing is about. Or is it?
I don't know. I thought schmoozing was kind of like talking, conversation, gossip, flattery, stuff like that. I thought that was the original.
Flattery and gossip?
Something like
that.
Now,
what do you think schmoozing is? Because she's absolutely correct. But she's going to add something to it, which is going to be I'm going to add something to it, which is going to be somewhat surprising. Here is the definition of the word schmoozing. And this comes from the Webster Dictionary. Are you ready for this?
I am ready. What is the definition of schmoozing?
Talk with someone in a lively and friendly manner. All right, what's the big deal? Typically, in order to do what?
Exchange ideas.
No.
No, in order to provide company.
No.
What?
Ready for this?
Yes.
I don't know if you'll agree. In order to impress or manipulate.
Oh, then I don't like that because I always say to somebody, "Hey, you want to schmooze today?" I didn't.
Look it up in the dictionary because anytime you want to go schmooze with someone, you're trying to manipulate them.
Wow.
And you're trying to impress them. And I dare say, as we begin to analyze it, you'll find that this is correct. So, for example, let me ask you a question. You're about to schmooze with somebody. What's more important, that they hear you or you hear them?
Well, people want to be heard, but then if you want to be a good listener, you have to hear them.
I know what you want to be. I'm asking you what you normally are.
If you're schmoozing, you obviously want to talk, you want to chit-chat, you want to get your stuff out.
Oh, so you basically agree. You want the other person to hear you. You don't want to hear them. And by the way, are you going to tell them stories? Well, some of us are going to tell stories of despair and distress. I understand that we just came from a year's or more period of isolation. But you know what? Let me ask you something. When you start talking about your grandkids and your great-grandkids, why are you doing that?
To brag.
What's another word for bragging?
Schmoozing.
And impressing.
Impressing.
I know you didn't want to say it. I had to get it out of you. Yeah, well, there you go. When you talk about how great things are, what are you trying to do? Impress. When you show off something brand new that you're wearing, what's the real hidden secret behind it?
How good do I look?
Aha! And what do you do first? Do you ask the other person how they're doing? I think sometimes we do. There's no question about that. But the definition now of the word impress certainly begins to take a little bit more merit, doesn't it, Carol?
Schmooze.
Schmooze. Well, no. Impress as part of being a definition of schmooze. All right, now let me answer this question. There are two people having a conversation. They're schmoozing. They each have a different of opinion. One says this, one says that. I'm not going to talk politics. I'm not going to talk what the subject is. How often do you say to yourself, aha, I agree with the other person? Or Are you trying to get the other person to agree with your position?
Of course you're trying to get the other person to agree with your position.
Aha, and what do you call that?
Schmoozing.
No. Give me the word that's in the definition.
Manipulating. Manipulating.
Aha. So now, do you agree with the definition of schmoozing?
Well, obviously I don't agree with it, but I understand that that's the definition.
What's
so then, in other words, we've been using it the wrong way.
Yes, we have been.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't say that I didn't agree with it. If that's the actual definition, then we've been using it totally the wrong way.
But guess what? That also comes from a Hebrew word and a Yiddish word, the root of schmoozing. Because another thing that we do in schmoozing, guess what we do? We gossip. We gossip. Now,
Lashon hara.
Lashon hara. And I'm not going to get into the ethical parts of it. That's for a totally different discussion. But schmoozing comes from a Hebrew word called shmuos, which means news, watch this, which is fine, or rumor.
Rumors.
Isn't
that what gossip is? Rumors.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Gossip is passing on something, but you don't know if it's true or false. It could be a rumor.
Could be a rumor, but sometimes gossip is true.
Yes, but sometimes it's not.
But, yes, so it goes both.
It goes both.
Yeah, all right. So then the Yiddish word, which it also means to talk or to chat. So now that you know what schmoozing is all about, is that what you really want to do?
No, I don't want to schmooze. I'm going to have to change my whole definition of schmoozing.
Do you want to impress? Do you want to manipulate? Do you want to do idle gossip?
I just want to have a nice chit-chat.
So what is the purpose then? Let's get a little bit deeper. What is the purpose of social interaction? Why do we want to talk to other people?
We want company.
Why?
We want friends.
Why?
Because we're humans. Humans like company. They don't like to be in isolation.
Okay, but why? I know what they don't like, but why?
Because they need to get their ideas out. They need to brag to someone. They need to tell people what's going on.
And they need you for that? You see, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of it, but I'm just trying to understand so I can build back into it, okay? I love social interaction. I love that type. You know why? Here's the reason we want social interaction. Here it is. Tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Because you want to feel good about yourself.
Interesting.
Right?
So you're telling me that you need other people in order to feel good about yourself?
So
I don't agree with that.
Oh, wow. So
other people affirming you that you are a good person is a good idea.
Yes.
But you don't necessarily need someone else to tell you that you are okay.
Oh, really? So if you go into a crowd of people and they say, you know, we don't want to talk to you, we don't like you, we don't affirm
That's
you.
different.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Different.
You want to go to a group of people that accept you for what?
For who you are.
Who you are. And let me ask you another question. When you go out and you meet people, okay, for the first time, and maybe some other times, what are the criteria that you use to select people to talk to?
People that you most likely identify with.
Yes, exactly right.
People that you think that you have something in common with.
Right, exactly correct. It is because you want to meet people who remind you of yourself. So, you know, there's a bit of a challenge here because we know a lot of people where we currently live. But you know what? During the past year, new people have moved in. And they have not had a chance to schmooze. They have not had a chance to impress. They have not had a chance
to manipulate.
To manipulate, yeah. They haven't had a chance to spread idle gossip. So let's assume for a moment, watch this. Let's assume for a moment there is, when this is over, a newcomers party. The newcomers meet the people who have lived there for a while and have the experience, okay? So who do you go to? How do you know in the room who you're going to approach?
A friendly face.
How do you define what's friendly?
Somebody smiling, somebody eyes that look welcoming, a friendly face.
Right. So if they're going to have a friendly face, who are they going to be looking for?
Another friendly face.
And what kind of a face should you have?
A friendly face.
Grumpy? Aggravated?
No,
you know, people tend to stay away.
You should have a face to mirror what they have.
Yes, you should have a face to mirror what they have, but there is another reason for getting together. Not only is it because you want to feel good about yourself, it is because you want to have fun. And nobody, when you get out of this stuff, wants to see somebody who doesn't have a smile on their face, who's grumpy, who's upset, who's got a negative attitude, because we've been through all of that before. So here's what I want to try with an experiment. Just watch me here. You think I'm crazy? That's okay. If you haven't developed that opinion yet, I'll certainly change it now. So what I want you to do is frown. I want you to frown. No, come on. Not, I mean like you're really frowning. No, frown. Give me a frown. Yeah. Get yourself in a pretty bad mood. No, come on. Get yourself in a... Frown about something. Really, God. Frown about something. All right, now, look at her. Look at her. She walks in with her head down. I don't want to really be here. I'm not interested in meeting people. I'm self-centered. The world is terrible. This has been a lousy year. You think anybody's going to come over and talk to you? No. And then you wonder, hey, how come the schmoozing event wasn't successful? Why don't these people come over and talk? What you need to do is walk into the room, even with people you know, and smile. Don't be grumpy. Smile. Be happy. It's over. It's over when it is. Go into a room and smile. So what I want you to do now, I want you to put on a grumpy face, just like she did. Come on. All right, and turn that into a smile. And here's what I want you to ask yourself. Watch this. If you saw your grandchildren, would you walk into that room grumpy, or would you walk into that room smiling? Yes, absolutely. So when you begin to schmooze, when you meet somebody for the first time, kind of like look at them and pretend that they're what?
Your grandchildren.
Your grandchildren. And that technique works. And yes, this is all part of the art of schmoozing, because you're there for fun, you're there to feel good about yourself, and the moment you start smiling, guess what happens? You feel good about yourself. But here's where some of the challenges come in. Here's a challenge. I want you to imagine this. It's a tough one. Watch this. You get an invitation to either Zoom or be part of, if you don't want to travel, your 50th high school reunion. Boom. First thought that went into your mind. When I said to you,
I'm going to lose 10 pounds.
Which, there you go. How many of you said that, right? Which means what? Are you happy with the way you are? Now, watch this. Why do you want to lose 10 pounds?
I don't know. Because after 50 years, I probably gained 10 pounds. I want to lose the 10 pounds.
Watch this. How about the word impress?
Yeah.
You want to look good. You want to impress. You want to feel proud. But what about your fear factor?
Fear factor?
Fear factor. Are you afraid that the other people who you haven't seen in 25 years or 50 years that don't have contact had a better life than you? Are you afraid that you're going to be inferior to them? Are you afraid that they're going to be overpowering? Are you looking forward to the 50th anniversary? Are you, in fact, going to accept the invitation as long as you can do it either in Zoom or in person, whatever is more appropriate? Or are you going to step back and say, nope, it's not for me because I don't feel good about myself? These people might feel better. Many might be better. When you meet people for schmoozing, you got to, especially after this past year, you got to have that same mindset. You have to say, how am I going to feel when I see these people? Am I going to have confidence? How is my self-esteem? How is my feelings, psychological feelings about myself? What do you think about that statement?
I think that's very true, but if you're asking me personally,
Yeah.
I would accept the invitation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a fear. I would accept the invitation. Yeah. I would be curious more than anything to see how everyone fared, but I don't think that I would be upset that thinking they had a big life, or they have more money, or whatever. Okay. I'd be curious to see what profession they went into, what happened to them.
We're going to talk about the professions in a little bit later. Yeah, we are definitely going to talk about the professions. So when we get started, that's very, very important. And by the way, if you don't feel comfortable, have a buddy. Have a buddy come in with you. You know, there's an old expression called the wingman. I'm not going to get into what a wingman does. But you might know, you might not know. This is not the session to talk about it. But the same thing, you go into an event with a buddy. If you don't feel that comfortable, somebody who's going to make you feel comfortable.
Someone who has your back.
So that's a great way to put it. Somebody who has your back. Because you might have heard me say this before, and I don't know if you've ever challenged me on this yet. The fact of the matter is, if you walk into a room with a lot of self-confidence, and even though you've been isolated for a year, but you feel good about yourself, is that going to be enough to begin meeting new people, or do you need something else? In other words, is self-confidence overrated?
No, but you need to have the art of conversation.
Yeah, the art of conversation, good, and what else, though?
What else do you need?
You see, here's the key. I'm glad. Here's the
Body
key.
language?
Yeah, body language somewhat, but here's the key. You see, self-confidence is overrated.
Overrated?
Overrated.
Okay.
If a person relies on self-confidence alone to meet people or to be successful, but most of us are retired, so I'm just going to go to say to meet people, we're doomed.
Doomed?
Doomed! Ain't going to happen.
Okay.
We're doomed.
Because?
Ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because the key is, how much confidence does a stranger have in you when they see you? Now, you might say to yourself, well, wait a minute, I haven't said a word. How are they going to have confidence in me? What's the answer?
I don't know.
How you walk into the room. Do you walk straight? Do you walk with confidence? Do you walk with a feeling that you're glad to be there? Do you walk with a smile? Do you walk with a positive attitude? Do you have that twinkle in your eye? Now, you might be saying, okay, Andy, come on. You're being a little bit unrealistic, okay? That's not me. That might be somebody else. That's not me. You lost me. Okay. But why can't it be you? Tell me what the resistance is. I know we've been in there for a year, and we've been waiting for a year to go out and schmooze and meet people. And yes, there's nothing wrong with talking about your grandkids. But why not walk into that room where someone is going to look at you and say, there's a person I really want to meet because I have confidence that we're going to strike up a great conversation and we're going to strike everything up. And you know why? Because what do people do? They judge a person how?
By its cover.
By its cover. Yes, by its cover. Yes. Now, do you like that expression?
It's an old expression. I don't, it just says it means what's on the outside. You shouldn't look at only what's on the outside, but what's in the inside.
Yep. And how realistic is that? So let me ask you a question. You go to a bookstore.
Because that's what the first impression is everything.
First impression is everything. So what kind of an impression do you give off? Now, I'm not saying you should walk into a room with Saks Fifth Avenue clothing on it if everybody else doesn't. I'm not saying that you should have the most magnificent jewelry, the perfect hats, the greatest shoes. But on the other hand, that's not your cover. No. You see, when you think about cover, you think about all those things, right? So what is the real cover that you would really judge a person after?
His personality, his tone.
Right. And how can you judge their personality?
By the things they say and by the way they're uplifted or by the aura they're giving off.
And where do they give an aura? Right here. Right here.
Right.
With a smile. A welcoming smile. That's the key. That's how you judge a book by its cover. I know I mentioned this before, but sometimes when we hear these things, we think about the other person, don't we? That's what the other person should be doing. I want to see people smile. Well, guess what? You need to smile. I learned a very important lesson from a producer at ABC Television. Tell you the story. And I might have said this before, but I'll say it again, how important smiling is. Here it is. So, as many of you know, I had my own TV show in Omaha, Nebraska, and I did not go to communication school, but I had my own show. It was a talk show. And it was about motivational, uplifting, a whole bunch of stuff. So I did my show. It was very good. There happened to be there an individual who produced TV shows for ABC, like Wife Swap. And what was that show about the nanny who was with the parent from England?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, he produced a whole bunch of shows. So I said to him, listen, how did I do? And he wasn't my director, but I said, how did I do? He said, you did great, except you got to do one more thing, which you failed to do. I said, what was that? I'm always interested in learning. Smile. Said you gotta smile. And when you smile, what happens? The other person smiles back. They feel uplifted. So, when we judge a book by its cover, you're the one that has to smile. You're the one that has to appear welcoming. How are we doing so far?
Interesting.
Interesting?
Yeah.
All right, let's go further. Now, in the old days, pre-COVID, when you met somebody for the first time, male, female, but mostly male, what was the physical thing that you did to break the conversation? You shook hands. Ha! Can you do that today? Not yet. Don't even try. Can you bump elbows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it would be kind of funny going around bumping elbows with everyone, right? All right. I don't know. I think that's a methodology, or maybe we shouldn't do anything at all. I don't know. Maybe some people would object to it. Maybe some people don't want to have that physical contact yet. I don't know. So right now, I would not necessarily recommend that. If, on the other hand, someone approaches you with a elbow bump and you feel comfortable with it, by all means, go through with it. So that's just a teeny weeny little thing that we need to really be cautious of. We don't want to enter into somebody else's space. But here's something very crucial. All right, let's assume that wherever you are, they ask you to wear masks. Okay, you happen to wear them. Some of the other people don't. And we know that can occur. In the Art of Schmoozing, do you go over to that person and say, why aren't you wearing a mask? If you find somebody else with a mask and you're talking to them, you say, look at that schmo over there. I didn't use the real word. Look at that schmo over there. He's not wearing a mask. What should he do? What do you think? That's a tough question. But it's reality today.
I might, if I wanted to, I don't know, I might go over to the person and say, I'd love to talk to you, but I really would like you to wear a mask. And see what happens.
Okay, that's a very, very, very good approach.
I mean, I would love to talk to you, but I feel like you should be wearing a mask. And I won't say, I would love to talk to you. Is there any way that you could put on a mask?
Yeah, absolutely correct. And that could break the ice.
And now, if they say no, then you walk away.
Yeah. Or another way to maybe phrase it by the way, just asking if you forgot your mask, you might want to ask the person that's coordinating this if they have an extra one. That way it's non-threatening. So that's the one I would recommend.
Well, actually, you're not going to it is threatening because you can't go over to a person and say, here, the mask, put it on.
No, that's right. You can't say that.
No.
But you can say, geez, you might have forgotten your mask. You might want to ask the person, whoever that person is, in coordinating this. And that's the way, I think that's the way we should do it. So let's go up back to the smile for a minute. What would be a good opening smile? That even with a stranger you've never seen before, but you're smiling. How would you, that's it. She's got it perfectly. Do that again. She didn't show any teeth. What they recommend is to smile, but don't show any teeth. Don't show any teeth. Because that really is more of an opening, but that's more of a sincere smile. Watch this. If I walk up to you like this, what are you going to think?
I don't know.
No. So you don't know. Judge by a book by its cover. So again, these are little nuances. We're going to get into the conversation part in just a few minutes. But you have to sound sincere. Okay, now we're ready. There's a group of people. You've never met them before. How do you go about joining in a conversation? How do you enter that group?
Well, it's kind of hard. If they're in the middle of a conversation, you don't want to interrupt, but you could kind of walk over and say, do you mind if I join the conversation or listen a little bit and say, oh, that sounds interesting, do you mind?
That's it. So sometimes you can say, I apologize, I couldn't help overhearing this conversation. It sounded real interesting. May I join you? And here's a little trick, okay? You go like this. Remember, we might have talked about this once before. Nod your head just a little bit. Not that much. Not that much. May I join you? And you know what? As we did this, she went a little bit too far. I think some people probably nodded back and forth. So you definitely want to be able to do that. May I join you? Sounds like an interesting topic. And they begin to talk, okay? So there are a bunch of opening lines that I'm going to go over with you. And we're going to do a little quiz. Should you use this line or not? There's about 5 of them. Okay, you ready for this? And you're going to be the one. Here we go. Excuse me, but I couldn't help noticing your beautiful dress or suit. I love it. Where did you get it? Is that a good opening line or not? Why not? That's flattery.
I mean, it's flattery, but maybe they don't want to tell you where they got it.
Okay, good. What else? What else?
It's...
You might be going overboard?
Maybe,
okay,
yeah.
Might be going overboard, so I wouldn't do that. How about this one? Hello, those are the most fabulous earrings I've ever seen. Yes or no?
Yes.
Good answer.
Yeah. If you like them, oh my God, they're fabulous.
Good answer.
Fabulous earring.
Good answer. By the way, if you go over to someone and say, those are fabulous earrings, watch this. Here's the hidden beauty of it. What does that say about you and them?
You might have the same taste.
Aha. So that person reminds you of yourself, and when the other person says, that person reminds me of you, of myself too. Here we go. You might have heard this one. You better know the answer to this one, okay? Excuse me, but you have the body of a god or goddess.
No.
You work out.
No.
But let's change that. You know what? I haven't seen you in a year. You look good.
Yeah, and you know what? That's almost like a catch-22 because what? I didn't look good before? I didn't look good before?
I haven't seen you. How about this one? You know, you're right. I haven't seen you in a year. You haven't changed.
And what if they did? That's not good. What if they did? What if they cut their hair? What if they lost 10 pounds? What if their hair went white?
Okay, how about this? It's good to see you after a year.
I like that. Good to see you after a year.
Good to see you after a year. Right. Okay, really missed you. Okay?
Yeah.
How's that?
That's good.
Now, I know you might have seen some of these people, but did you really do it in a big group? Okay, how about this one? Let's see. Pardon me. You all seem to like you all seem like a nice group of people. Do you mind if I join you?
I think that's okay. Why isn't that
okay? They sometimes they say no because maybe they're not that nice, and maybe you're not that nice. So I just like the interesting part of the conversation better.
Okay.
All right. So how about this one? Hi, I heard the laughter from across the room. Since you all must be you guys are the funniest people around here, I decided to come over and be amused.
I don't think so.
What do you think?
No.
No, I agree with you. Absolutely no. All right, let's go to another one. Let's assume for a moment you meet somebody for the first time. All right? Should you say, oh, just by the way, what did you do for a living? Think about that one as she thinks. That's a tough one.
I don't know. I mean, to start right off?
No, yeah, I mean, after you
I don't know. Everybody always asks what profession you were in, what did you do for a living. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have mixed emotions about that.
Good. What are the mixed emotions? That's what I wanted to hear.
I mean, there might be something else to talk about besides the fact, what did they do for a living? I don't know.
What do you think? Do you like being asked what you did for a living? Do you like being asked that question? Do you?
I don't mind.
You don't mind? See, here's the problem with that. You see, when you ask somebody else what they did for a living, automatically there's a judgment that will come right afterwards.
Because depending on what they say they did for a living, you might say, oh, okay.
Exactly correct. So, let me give you an example. And you might have been a good one. Okay, watch this. So I want you to, so ask me, what did you do for a living?
What did you do for a living?
I was a sex surrogate. Whoa, look at that. Look at that reaction. I know I'm male. I should have switched it around, but I didn't prep her in advance, okay? Or someone might have said I was a policeman. Maybe you don't like law and order. Or someone might have said I was a professor in a college. Maybe you just graduated from community college. You see, all of a sudden, are you going to be on a level that's right there? Okay, you're going to judge them. That's very difficult. Now, you might be saying again, Andy, you're going too far. All I want to do is talk to people. Don't give me all this discipline. Yeah, that's true, but you want to talk to them more than once, don't you? Because they want to feel comfortable with you, and guess what else? You want to feel comfortable with them, and remember the old secret? They will not talk to you unless you remind them of them. The opposite, you won't talk to them unless they remind you of yourself or actually somebody who influenced you in life. So the moment you start asking what you do for a living, that's tough. How about this one? When did you retire?
That's also just, but what if the guy retired really early? Oh, he retired so young, I had to work until I was 89 years old, right?
Yeah. Are you getting too personal? Okay? So probably some way to do it is to say something like this. Do you mind if I talk to you a little bit about my background, what I did for a living? Something like that. You want to get their permission. You're not in favor of that
No,
one. Why not?
because I
Why
would
aren't
say,
you in favor
hey,
of that one?
I'm not really that interested. What the hell? What do you,
Okay. All right. So what do you do?
what do you mean? What do you do?
How do you find out? Or should you find out? Or should you just wait for them to say it in a non-impressive, non-manipulative way? And let me ask you this very basic question. What difference does it make what they did for a living in the first place?
Right.
What difference does it make?
Doesn't make any difference.
All right? If they were a firefighter, in the army, a
Well,
teacher...
the only difference it makes is that you say, oh, do you have any interesting stories? And then the stories come out from there.
Exactly right.
Right.
Exactly right. All right. Now, by the way, if you think this is nuts, I want you to think of the time you asked somebody what they did, and either they made you feel bad because you did not attain that level, or in fact, all of a sudden they were lower than you. They had a menial job, and how did you feel? I don't need this schlep. There's no way he can keep up with my intellect. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we go. Let's try this on for size. How about you say to somebody, "Hey, how's life treating you?"
Then you're opening that up. Well, I have this ache. I have this pain. My car tire blew out. Blah, blah, blah. If you don't want to hear it, don't ask it.
Yep. So what's your day like today?
That's okay. Meaning, what do you have on tap? What's going to be interesting? You're going to go someplace. You're going to see something. You're going to watch a good TV program. Whatever. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, and nothing wrong at all. So those are some of the ways you want to ask. Now, let's get really, really deep into it. You haven't seen somebody for a while. You're relieved to finally meet people. This is a tough question. Do you ask them, how did you fare during the pandemic?
Well, I don't know.
See, these answers aren't simple.
The people that you've been close to and the people that you've doomed with, you all know how you did. This is someone entirely different. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So what do you think? How would you answer if somebody said, how did you do during the pandemic? Oh, it was the worst time of my life, which it probably was. It was the worst time of my life. I missed my grandkids. I missed talking to people. It was terrible. Or I couldn't wait for this thing to be over. Or I'm so glad that I survived. Oh, I know so many people who I lost. Or I know so many people who had COVID.
So what's the answer?
That's a tough one. That really is a tough one. So if someone asks you how you did during the pandemic, I've got a very simple answer. I'm so happy, as I'm sure you are.
It's over.
That it's over.
Or that we're somewhere near the new normal.
Yeah, right, somewhere near the new. How about that? Okay?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you don't have to dredge up everything.
Right, because you're going to dredge up anything. Oh, yeah, I kept myself busy. It was wonderful. I really don't want to be here. It's a social event. I became secluded and isolated. I like that better. I can't stand people. No, just say, you know what, I'm glad it's over. That's it. Boom, forget about it.
Right. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
And that way you get to remember, mingling or schmoozing is to make you feel good about yourself and to have fun. And that's what the purpose is. Not to go ahead and remember all the bad things in life. Because you have other issues too. Let's assume, for example, you're in with a group of people and you don't like them. You can't wait to get the heck out of there. But you don't want to be rude. You know why?
Why?
Because you live in the same facility as these people live in, and you'll see them every day. Do you just walk away? You guys are boring. I can't stand it anymore. It looks like a better conversation over there. I'm going to leave right away. Boom, boom, boom. You see, sometimes these conversations could be boring. They could be repulsive. People are trying to manipulate you, remember we talked about that, into a position that is different from the one that you hold, and you're doing the same thing. Or they're trying to impress you, and you certainly can't. So they could be boring, it could be repulsive, it could be depressing, it could be embarrassing. Do you want to hang around those types of conversations? Do you really? Is that fun? No. So how do you get out? It's a lot of different ways. One of the most famous ones? This is really cool. And
my
for our
phone is
age...
ringing. Oh, I think I hear my phone.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Oh, look, I got a message.
No, I can't do that.
No,
because that says that the phone is more important than you are. Okay?
All right.
I have a great one. I have a great one. Come on, Carol, work with me here.
Go ahead,
Okay.
tell me.
Please excuse me. Do you know where the nearest restroom is? You're out.
You're out.
You're
You're
out.
gone.
Who says you got to come back? You're out. Oh, by the way, they just put out the cheese and crackers. I'm going to go over there and have some cheese and crackers.
That's a good one.
It was.
I'm really thirsty. I need to get a drink.
It was nice talking to you. Okay, and then you get the heck out of there. Right. Okay. So yeah. These are important because you're going to see these people again, and no one's going to remember that you had to go to the bathroom. No one's going to remember you like cheese and crackers. Nobody's going to remember you want another drink or anything else like that. Or maybe you could say, "It's about I've been sitting on my feet for a while. There's an open chair. I'm just going to go ahead and sit down." And then subconsciously you say to yourself, yeah, because you guys are boring, repulsive, you get me upset, I don't like you, I don't want to talk to you, and you can't wait to get that. But when you leave, watch this. What should you do when you leave?
Nice to see you.
And you did it, but you don't know what you did.
Nice to see
you.
you.
What'd you do? You smile.
Nice to see you.
A phony smile. Nice to see you.
Excuse me, I really have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
I really
that's right.
have to go.
There you go. You see, you thought you never learn anything from this stuff, right? It is so important that you know this stuff. All right, now let's say you're having a conversation with someone. Finally, we're talking about that, right? And you don't understand what the guy's saying, or gal. So here's something that I do, and what I always say, for clarity purposes.
Did I hear you say this?
Did I hear you say this? Okay, or yeah, did I hear you say that? You don't say, did you say this? You put the burden on yourself. And, by the way, when someone doesn't agree with what I said, I don't say to them, oh, what's the matter with you? You don't understand? What's the matter with you? Come on, guy, get with it. I told you in plain English what the story is. What's the matter? Try this one on for size. You ready for this one? I apologize. I apologize. I really do. You've seen me do this. I'm so sorry. The way I phrased it made it hard to understand. Okay? I'm sorry let me rephrase it. I'm sorry I allowed myself to be misunderstood. You take the blame. You don't blame them. And then you switch your story around, make it a little bit more palatable, but I apologize. I allowed myself to be misunderstood. That's all. What do you think about that one? By the way, we having fun yet?
It's very interesting.
The art of schmoozing. Very, 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 very important. All right. So, watch this. Ever been in a group and you've got this wonderful story you want to tell? Or joke, I should say. Tell the joke. You know what a lot of people say? They say the following. Man, I got to tell you a story that is so funny.
They're setting you up. And if it's not funny, you're saying, what the heck? It wasn't funny.
Just tell them the story and let them laugh.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Don't set them up.
Right. There is an art to telling a joke. And I learned this from Joan Rivers in a book that I read so long ago. It was amazing. So here's something very interesting. You don't have to be witty, and you can tell canned jokes as long as they're okay. So here, I have to rephrase it. When I say okay to the group that you're talking to, okay? So that's very important. So if you happen to be at a group which is the Mother-in-Law's Association, you don't go in telling mother-in-law jokes, okay? If you happen to be in a marriage area and you feel comfortable, you can tell a mother-in-law joke. That's what I'm saying. So number one, the person you're talking to has to be able to relate to the story. Have to relate to it, just like the mother-in-law thing. Number two, why do people laugh? They laugh at the truth. They laugh at the truth. And the real secret of laughter is because right before you come up with the answer, the real comedian, you'll see this, pauses for just a second because they want to give you an opportunity to think about what they're going to say. They want you to think about the punchline. So you pause just a subliminal second, give them a chance to think. Then you come out with the headline or the punchline, and then they laugh. And why do they laugh? Three things. One, they can relate to it. Two, it's the truth. Three, they're laughing because they're saying to themselves, oh my God, I should have thought of that. And that's what makes people laugh. So don't tell them the story because I'm going to make it funny, because maybe they don't relate to the story. It has nothing to do with them. And sometimes you'll tell a story to a group of people, maybe two people will laugh and two won't. The other two don't feel bad. All right. Oh, don't we love this? Watch this. I'm going to tell you a story. And the story goes on
and
on
and drags just like a slow movie.
Well, get with the point.
Yeah.
Every freaking detail. So, I didn't say a bad word. I didn't say a bad word. Every freaking detail. All right. So, for example, I went to the store. All right. That's the story. Boom. You know what these people do? I was thinking about going someplace. I decided to go to this particular store after I looked at all the other options that were available to me. Before I left, I had to dress appropriately, and I wanted to make sure that everything was color coordinated. And then I had to make a decision. How do I get to the store? Do I take a bus? Do I take the train? What do I do? And when I get there, am I going to be looking around for anything else? And I finally got there, and then I saw what I wanted. And then, you know what? I decided to browse just a little bit more. And then I finally went up to the cashier. I gave the cashier my money. You see your boy. You see, do you tell stories like that? Huh? Do you? Now, watch this. Here you go. Ready? If you were laughing, guess what? That was the truth. You related to it. It was you. You know, it's often funny that when you talk to a live group and you say something and somebody laughs, I focus on that person because what I just said related to them. And if you see me in public, it's, oh yeah, it looks like you could relate to that story. Why? Because they laughed. All right, don't laugh too much about yourself. That's degrading. And we're there to have a good time. And this one's really tough. Don't make fun of other people. That's bad. Why is it bad? Do you think people are going to trust you if you go ahead and make fun of somebody else? They're going to think what? That eventually you're going to make fun of them. All right, let's move on. You're talking to a group of people. We talked about leaving the group. What happens if they leave you?
What happened if they leave you?
Yeah.
So, what is it? Something I said?
Yeah. You don't want to be the person that they leave with. So, you know, sometimes it's really interesting. When you get into a group of people and they're having a discussion, do you present the opposite point of view, or do you present and agree with what they're saying? Because if all of a sudden you begin to say the opposite, you know what? They're going to leave you alone. Especially if you just entered the group, because what are you really trying to do? You know.
Antagonize.
And manipulate.
Right.
And they don't want to be manipulated. They're looking for people who agree with them. So either you get out of there first, okay, and use the bathroom trick or whatever else we talked about, and get out before they leave you, because all of a sudden they're always going to remember you for who you are. All right. Watch this. When we told the story about going to the bathroom, that was a lie. Flat out lie. You probably went before you got to the event. A flat out lie. And if they served the cheese, you might be lactose intolerant. See how she laughed? Yeah, see what I did? Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not lactose intolerant. It just sounded funny.
Yeah, but you know why?
Why?
Watch this. I know why it sounded funny.
Why?
I played a brain trick on you. I manipulated you.
You did?
Yes. Watch this. Who do we know that is lactose intolerant? No.
You are.
I am. Okay. Well, in some cases.
Who do we know that's
lactose intolerant. And he always talks about it. It's subconsciously in your mind.
Who?
Come on.
Who? I don't know.
The guy on the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yeah. Sheldon.
Not Sheldon, the other guy.
Oh, David. Whatever his name.
I forgot his name myself.
Leonard.
Leonard's so we watch. See, this is the way things work. We watch the Big Bang Theory every day. I could watch that. I'm sure you. I don't know if you do or not. We can watch that thing every time. So Leonard always says I'm lactose intolerant. So the minute I set that joke up, I knew subconsciously that would hit her head and I would get her to laugh. Okay? That's it. Now, I trained myself on this stuff. Okay, I got that. All right, anyway, so go ahead and tell a lie. It's okay to lie because it is better to leave someone before they leave you. And you know what? They'll never even know that there is a lie. Now, there's something else that you can do. And Carol, regrettably, has seen me do this. Controlling the conversation. Have you seen me do that? Do you know the tricks to controlling a conversation? Okay, let's say, for example, you want to talk about gardening. You want to talk about gardening, and that's fine. They're talking about architecture. Okay, that's okay. How do you switch from architecture to gardening? Ready? Here you go. If you're having a conversation about architecture, you say, you know what, you have buildings. Usually around the buildings, there are what?
Garden.
There you go.
Outdoor areas.
There you go. You gotta have the connected dots. You gotta connect the dots, and before they don't know it, they'll never know, you switch the conversation to a topic that you want to talk about, that you feel is comfortable. That you never knew that. And you could probably do that with anything by just thinking for a moment, okay, how can I relate this to the topic I really want to talk about? And you've seen me do this, right? By the way, I don't mean, I have to, disclaimer. Do I manipulate you? No, not at all. You're holding back, you sure? I don't. It's not fair. We have a very open. We have a very open thing. So these are little things about how to control the conversations, and there's so many others that we can actually talk about. But I just wanted to give you some ways to do it. All right. So somebody comes to your group. Remember we said earlier that you should not shake hands. So what would be another physical way for either you to accept someone in your group or the group to accept you? Without touching, without elbows. Think about that
Just
one for a
come on
moment.
in.
Oh, I didn't think. Come on in, which is good. But once they're in, because usually when you have someone come in, you start introducing. Well, so what's another way to do it?
Non-physical way?
Non-physical way.
That's mine. Come in.
Come in and a little bow. Just a little bow. Not a big one. Yes. That means you're welcome. And we're glad to have you with us. Oh, you don't like that one at all. Oh my gosh, she didn't like that one at all. All right.
We're not in England. We're not bowing. We're not curtsying. It doesn't make sense.
See, I told you these are unrehearsed. When she doesn't like something,
No.
she'll tell me. So there you go. I kept my word. All right. So the end of this thing will really surprise you. It could kind of upset you maybe too. All right. So you ever have trouble remembering people's names? Right? And you're standing there in front of someone. You don't know you should know their name, okay? Absolutely. You see the way she moved back because she didn't want to be associated with me. Did you see that? I started talking about that. She pointed to me. Then she sits back. I don't want anything to do with him because he's the guy, and I don't want to be associated. Look at.
Oh, no.
I don't want to be associated with a guy who doesn't remember names. And yeah, that's me. I have to tell you. But there are techniques. I don't know if you're the same way. Watch this. If you're in a group of people, okay, and you know one of them, okay, and you don't know if they met the other one, you could say, by the way, have you two guys met? And what do you think they're going to do?
They know. The person's going to say, hi, I'm Joe Blow. The other person say, I'm Nettie Smith. And
there you go. There you go. Exactly right. Right?
Right.
Now, that's pretty interesting, right? So if you ever see someone do that to you because they can't remember your name, have fun. What's the matter? You couldn't remember my name? No, don't say that. but excuse me. But that's one of the tricks to do that. Or if someone else comes in, hey, welcome to the group. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? Boom. Oh, hey, I'm Nettie Smith. And everybody introduces, remember their name, and try and keep it there for forever and ever and ever. So these are some of the techniques to schmoozing. Now that I've taken all the fun away, now that it's got to be structured, you're not supposed to manipulate. You're not supposed to impress. You're not supposed to gossip. What the heck are you supposed to talk about? You didn't expect that question to come up, did you? What are you going to talk? World problems? Okay, great. We all do that. We all solve them. You betcha. So the answer is talk about whatever you feel comfortable with. Talk about things that are of interest to you and of interest to somebody else. And you know what the greatest way to do that, I think, is to learn from the other person. Conversations are great. I love conversations. I'm not trying to downgrade them. We all want to get out. We all want to have conversations. There are things we want to get off our chest. We really do. But what is it that we want to learn? Watch this. We want to learn about the other person. What's wrong with that? We want to learn about what the experiences that person has had in their life that they could glean from. We want to be able to express our appreciation for life in a positive manner and really show appreciation and gratitude for what's going on. I'm often amazed, really amazed, that in the non-hearing world, which Carol is, as you know, she is part of the non-hearing world, Hearing Challenge, and many of her friends, her sister, her mom, were all totally unable to hear. Obviously, the expression is deaf. And these guys would schmooze and schmooze and schmooze for hours. Hours.
It took them 5 hours to say goodbye.
Yeah. Talk about movies, talk about books, talk about anything, talk about some things that interest you, talking about a good book that you read, why it was a good book, what you learned from the book. Have fun doing it. But for whatever you do it with the intention of having fun. Because the last thing you want to do is go back to where you were and say, hey, what a bunch of nudniks they were. Those stupid people couldn't see things the way I see them. What a bunch of yokels. I don't want to associate with those people anymore. I didn't have any fun at all. Because guess what? We're never ever going to be able to convince people to see things our ways. Why? We all have different backgrounds, different ethics, different influences, different experiences, different thought processes, different priorities in our life. So let people live life the way they want to live it, as long as it is not harmful to you, and as long as it is not criminal or does anything bad. Let them be. Accept people for who they are. And I think that's the beauty of schmoozing, isn't it? Is even if they're not like you, accept them for who they are and learn why they are that way. And share the same thing with you. And share the theater, share music, share ideas for improvement, share your future vision, share your past experiences. But don't try and impress. Don't try and manipulate. Sharing. Because I will tell you, that is the art of conversation. The art of conversation is to share. To share life's experiences, to share life's visions, to share life's opportunities. And I hope that during this time that we spent together, it gives all of us a more comfortable, self-confident feeling that when this is over and we go out and we meet new people meet us, we're back at the 50th anniversary of high school or the 1-year anniversary of getting together and partying or whatever we do, that we walk in there with a great feeling of optimism, a great feeling of sunshine, a great feeling of freedom, which is something we didn't discuss. Carol, what else would you like to add?
I think you said it all. Absolutely said it all.
Yep. So Carol and I certainly hope you enjoyed this time together. We truly look forward to doing what? You know what?
Having the art of conversation with you.
She's good. Having the art of conversation with you. Until we get that opportunity, my name is Andy Greenberg. This is
Carol saying
so long. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Please stay happy. And with a great big smile back at me. Come on. With a great big smile and an elbow bump. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.